Okay, we're here outside Stamford Bridge and it's time to predict the Arsenal 11 that will line up out here. It's a massive, massive game. Arteta's won 3 in a row and drew the game before that, went down to 10 men, so who knows, it could have been 4, but this is his chance to make it 4 in a row. Now let's just give ourselves a little bit of context before Robbie and Cecil tell me the 11s they want to see. Bukayo Saka missed the international break, 2 England games against Australia and Italy, didn't play in the Man City game either. Arsenal wanted to make sure he got absolutely all the rest he needed from that injury picked up against Lens. Jorginho starting that game, as did Eddie Nketiah, so it's yet to be seen whether Jesus will start down the middle or whether Partey comes straight back in despite only playing 20 minutes against Man City, but he got a little bit of time in the international break with Ghana as well. Other 11 details, I mean, who knows? David Raya, will he keep his place after a shaky game against Man City? Aaron Ramsdale's recently done an interview talking about how he's working hard for his place in the team. Let's see what Arteta goes with. As I said, to help me build it, let's find out what Robbie wants to see. All right, Robbie, it's time to hear the 11 you want to see. You're Mikel Arteta, you're in the dressing room, you've shown them some old tweets. You know, you've got them, I don't know, riled up for whatever reason. We're in a title race. Goalkeeper,
Raya. Just because we're still unbeaten. So even though he had a real shaky first half the other day against Man City, we didn't lose the game.
Yeah.
You keep the keeper in as we're unbeaten with.
Yeah.
So Raya in goal.
Fair enough.
A back 4, I'd like to see, of course, Ben White, who was brilliant against City. Of course, centre backs of Saliba and Gabriel, fantastic again against City, and Zinchenko at left back. And here's my midfield, which I think is going to be all in. What I'd love to see in this game is Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard. Them 3.
Yeah.
For me, if that's the midfield, come here on Saturday, I'm really confident that we can come here and get a result. That would be, for me, that is Arsenal's best midfield. And then up front, it all depends on Saka if he's fit or not. If he's fit, Saka, of course, on that right-hand side. On the left-hand side, Martinelli with Jesus down the middle. If Saka wasn't fit, then Jesus on the right-hand side, and I'd have Eddie Nketiah down the middle. Always does well.
Not Kai Havertz.
Not
Good
Kai
appearance
Havertz.
Off the bench up front against City.
Off the bench,
former
could come
club.
on. Former club, but listen, Eddie Nketiah against Chelsea has always done well. I mean, and his pressing and everything, I think, will be really important in a game like this. So I'd start Eddie.
Okay, fair enough. That's Robbie's 11. Let's hear what Cecil thinks. Right, you haven't heard Robbie's 11?
No, I went round the corner.
I have a feeling you might go for a similar thing though. What's your starting 11?
Okay, so David Raya in goal, even though you mentioned it, Ramsdale had come out in the press recently, and listen, I don't think there's much difference between both goalkeepers, but I feel like for this game he'll stick with I want David Raya to start for this one. But hopefully Ramsdale will return soon. Right back, Ben White. There's not really much more to say. He's been solid. He's been great.
Fantastic against City. Yeah.
I love Ben White in there. Gabriel and Saliba centre back pairing. Don't need to spend too long on it either. You already know, for me, you're the best partnership so far in the Premier League. I think they're superb. Can't wax lyrical enough about them, and can't speak any highly of those two together. Zinchenko out left back. Going to be key to the play, the build-up play, and especially offensively as well. Has to keep his place. Defensive midfield. Now this is where it kind of changes. I actually think we're going to see Thomas Partey start.
Okay.
I don't know what Robbie went with, but I think Thomas Partey will start. And he played a few minutes against City as well. Came off the bench, so I feel like he's going to be more than ready to start come Saturday. So him in there, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard in the midfield. For me, my favourite midfield, the best midfield in my opinion on paper, and I think they're going to be essential for this game. Now, here's where things get a little bit tricky. What I want to see is I want technicians in there. I said it's a small pitch, ball has to be moved around quickly. I want to see intricacies. So, left wing, I know Martinelli doesn't have that, but he does have the intricacies actually. He's more run down the line, but he's going to keep his place. He's going to get his place back. Sorry, left wing. He stays in there. This is where it gets tricky. I want to put Jesus up front and potentially Fabio Vieira out on the right, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Are you assuming Saka's not available then?
No, Saka. I think Saka will feature. I don't think he'll start.
Okay.
Well, I don't really want him to start. I want to see him. And I know Robbie's probably gone with strongest team if he's available. And mate, you have to play him.
Robbie's also watching from the side.
I know he is, but I got to tell you, I know how he works. So he's probably going to say Saka to start. But for me, I would like to see him feature, just not start. But I'm going to stick with what we saw at City. Eddie up front, Jesus on the right. And Martinelli on the left wing. But I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie has dropped and we see Fabio Vieira out on the right and Jesus up front. I think that is a team that can break down on a tighter pitch at Stamford Bridge, a Chelsea side. So yeah, that's my 11.
All right, plenty of food for thought. Fine, I'm going to give you, taking into account all that, taking into account the little we know about the injury stuff, trying to understand Mikel Arteta. I got it horribly wrong after the City game, but let's try predict the 11. So trying to get into the mind of Mikel Arteta is very, very, very difficult. I thought he was playing a game and that he was going to unveil Saka, Martinelli and Partey all in the starting 11 for the Man City game. He didn't. We won, we played brilliantly, he got it right, fair play to him, and Saka got very, very crucial rest. He's not played football for 2.5 weeks come the time this Chelsea game comes around. Is that enough time to have recovered from the injury he got? It's really hard to predict. Here's the one thing about Mikel Arteta. When he finds something he likes and has worked, he buys into it massively. And sometimes, while I obviously don't know as much as Mikel Arteta, sometimes I think, yeah, that worked for said team, that doesn't mean it might work for this team. Just because Partey did well as an inverted right back, maybe against Forest, Wolves, last game of last season, just because we defended well against Palace, didn't mean it was going to work for Fulham at home, and it didn't work for Fulham at home. So when I see Jorginho at the base and Eddie up top, and we beat Man City doing it, I fear that Arteta's going to think, I don't need to force it with Partey, I don't need to force it with Saka. However, the flip side, he plays Saka whenever he possibly can. So, my predicted 11 is David Raya to keep his place. I don't think we're going to be seeing alternating goalkeepers. I think Ramsdale's been dropped. Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko keep their place. Zinchenko, I think people forget that he had a lot of fun at Stamford Bridge here last year, inverting, coming very central. That was when it looked like Arsenal really clicked in terms of playing with that inverted fullback. It's a similar time of year. You know, we were getting into our real rhythm at that point. We got a load of wins on the bounce. I think he can come and have a similar impact to Zinchenko. I think Jorginho is going to start. Cecil keeps alluding to the smaller pitch. I don't know how much smaller it is, but Jorginho will be very accustomed to playing here at Stamford Bridge, former Chelsea player, and he gives you some experience, he gives you some control. And I actually think he might want that in this game, Mikel Arteta. I think he might want a calm, experienced head, but also he's got something to prove. And I don't think he's going to risk Partey, especially because Partey's played only 20 minutes for Arsenal, but then quite a bit of the international break, if I'm not mistaken. So Jorginho, I think, is going to start with Ødegaard and Rice. The front three, I think he will give the start to Saka. Jesus down the middle, he's been brilliant, played 390 minutes in a row before the international break, and Martinelli on the left. So the only one there is Jorginho. I would personally start Partey, but I actually think he's going to give Jorginho the nod, who did really well against Man City. And I think if you're getting Rice in that box-to-box, maybe you want to do it alongside the partner he most recently did it with to get that balance, to get that sort of understanding. But I just think Partey is the better player and deserves to be starting in this game. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to go to the AFTV Plus app, free to do, build your 11s, tag us on socials, and if we can, we'll go through them in the starting 11 show on match day to go through what all of you want to see, along with Robbie and Cecil's 11s as well. Alright, we'll see you all in a little bit. Like and subscribe. Many thanks.